Funny times. Alex Deane is with us, consultant and political commentator. Let's move to this story, Alex. This, of course, fairly controversial, and we know this isn't going to happen until after Mr. Trump has flown home. Keir Starmer set to formally recognise Palestine as a state after Trump concludes his visit. Let's remind ourselves of what this was, of when this was first announced earlier this year.
Always said that we will recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution. With that solution now under threat, this is the moment to act. So today, as part of this process towards peace, I can confirm the UK will recognise the State of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September.
And it is September, and that's about to happen. I should just say, Alex, before you respond to this, that Starmer and Trump are talking at the moment. This is not the official press conference. This is kind of pre-press conference thing. Sitting, it looks like a TV studio from Eastern Europe in about 1978 for some reason. There's an assembled gathering there watching them speak. So this isn't the official press conference, but you can see there on your screens that it has some kind of vague announcement to it. The audio feed on that is pretty rubbish at the moment. We'll bring it to you when we can get some clarity. Let's go back then to Palestine, Alex. What are you making of this?
This is a reward for Hamas, and it's remarkable. The Prime Minister began his position by saying we would that would assist those who had committed the atrocities of October the 7th until all hostages have been returned. And then he said in a press conference last month, my position is completely unchanged, but we're going to recognise Palestine, which is a country that, if it's going to be run by anyone at the moment, would be run by an organisation that his own government recognises as a prescribed terrorist organisation.
Yeah.
It is madness. But Ian, it's also madness on wider terms, because for the last 100 years almost, we've had the Montevideo Convention on what constitutes a state. And it has four principles. A defined permanent population. Well, that's not possible presently, because many of the people who would say that they were Palestinian are in other countries, Jordan and so forth. The second is defined borders. Well, is Jerusalem, which they claim, in or out? Is it just at the Gaza Strip, or is it the West Bank? The third is a government. Well, the only organisation that might be that government is the one I've referred to, a terrorist group. Yeah. And the last is the ability to enter into formal communique with other countries. Well, that will only be true after the fact. So there are four criteria for being a state. It satisfies none of them. And this lawyer, our Prime Minister, is going to say he's going to recognise it as a state anyway.
I find it curious. His defence is often, well, there's 147 other countries that also recognise it. What do we make of that?
Well, this is someone who would normally say that peer pressure is something you shouldn't give into. Yeah. This is someone who would normally say that we don't believe in using the positions taken by others to decide what is right for ourselves. And indeed, if you look at the way that Israel has been treated by its neighbours, invaded repeatedly, if you look at the way that Israel is distinguished from its neighbours, a democracy in a region that, to put it at its mildest, is not burgeoning with democracies, and a country that is pluralistic and liberal, it treats gay people and women as equal citizens in a way that most of their neighbours profoundly do not. And if it becomes a state, Palestine would not. Many of the shibboleths that Labour hold dear will not be recognised in Palestine. In heaven's sake, try being transgender in a new recognised Palestinian state and see how you get on.
Yeah, spot on. This story, slightly disturbing this. I don't know what you make of this one. The American talk show host Jimmy Kimmel has been dropped indefinitely by the American news channel ABC over his divisive comments regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Let's have a listen.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
That seems to be the kind of key line that appears to have got him fired. I mean, this guy's one of the biggest deals, Alex, as I'm sure you know, in late-night American TV. Of course, he's treading on very delicate subject, but I've never seen one of those late-night talk shows not tread on delicate subjects. What do you make of this?
Yeah, look, on the one hand, he didn't do what a lot of people have done, which is celebrate the death, the murder of Charlie Kirk. And a lot of people losing their jobs now in the United States because they went out and chose to, on their social media, say it was a good thing and say it in far more blunt terms than I just described it. Well, if you think that somebody being shot for expressing their views is good, you can't be surprised if you lose your job for expressing yours. But that's 100%. Not actually what he did. What he did was say that the killer was a member of the Make America Great Again type movement. And it does seem that that was just completely untrue. Yep. Whether that means he should lose his job, another question.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to that curious, almost contradiction of America in some ways. The sort of the greatest advocate of free speech, and their amendment allows them to do all sorts of things. You know, we've talked about the American talk shows before. They can do material on ongoing court cases, which we can't do. Jay Leno, back in the days of the O.J. Simpson trial, it was either Leno or Letterman, had the dancing Itos, the judge. So a tribute to the judge at the time. I mean, you think, wow, I mean, this was about the death of a woman who was blown away and her partner in tragic circumstances, and they were making kind of light of the case. So this didn't, to me, seem particularly remarkable for an observational comedian.
I think what you may miss there, Ian, is the profound effect that this murder has had on culture in the United States. True. I know a lot of Americans and spend a lot of time there, and this really has struck to the heart of how many people see their country. This was a guy who spent his time going, whether you liked him or disliked him, agreed with him or disagreed with him, he had his debates in the public square. He didn't believe in using violence in that space. He went and disagreed with people. And other people, it seemed, were not just unwilling to listen to him, or not just unable to beat him in an argument. They disliked him so much, and they disliked his arguments so much, that they killed him. Well, so temperatures are running very high, and I think Kimmel just chose a very bad time to go for some edgy comedy. After all, in the end, you sign a contract that says you won't bring your employer into disrepute, and you're employed at their pleasure. Well, I think we're seeing now their profound displeasure. Yeah,
and his show, of course, is owned by Disney, which have a certain brand to protect. Yeah. So I guess there is that. And let's also move to this story. Cops to stop police using dangerous facial recognition technology. Critics urge the UK police to stop facial recognition due to accuracy issues and potential misuse concerns. I mean, it's always going to be controversial, isn't it? Even just the name of it, facial recognition technology. There is something a bit Big Brother about this.
Yes, I dislike all of us being treated as suspects all the time. But moreover, I have a more fundamental concern, which is that you should pass the legislation, having had the debate in Parliament, preferably having put it in a manifesto, to have a big change in law like this, rather than doing what this government is doing, which is what governments so often do. Introduce the technology without having passed the law, and then retrospectively going back and saying, now justify it after the fact, after having done it. Be upfront with the British public. If this is how you think we should police, put it in your manifesto, debate it in Parliament, get a majority in Parliament, pass the law so that we can see it's been done properly. Don't do it backwards.
It seems absolutely right. I mean, there's nothing I could really argue against on that. And I guess all I should add to it, if I can get that out in one sentence, Alex, all that I would add to that would be we are going to see more of this. Whether we like it or not, this is going to be, the future, like garlic bread was once.
This isn't some small control trial they're doing. They're rolling this out in 7 major centres now, and it's coming to a high street near you soon. If you've got a concern about it, you should tell your Member of Parliament, who have frankly been rather omitted from this process. And when the debate comes, our representatives in Parliament should have every awareness and understanding of how concerned people are, rather than thinking, well, we did the trial without passing the law, no one seemed to mind, so we might as well wave it through.
Yeah. Spot on. Listen, Alex, always great to have you on. Thank you, Alex Deane, consultant and political commentator with us on the programme. We are going to pick up as well and continue on that question of the special relationship. The Europe editor from the Sunday Times will join us. Also, Brian Monteith, former Brexit Party MEP, and Kevin Meir, who's the former Labour advisor. Looking forward to speaking to all of them. Importantly, your comments on the way as well. 0344 499 1000. Special relationship. Where are we are we most not just at home with in terms of trade? I mean, obviously you look to wherever your greatest trading partner. Who is our greatest trading partner? USA or EU? There's always a little bit of controversy over which one it is. But it's a bit more than that, isn't it? It's more. It's about our kind of spiritual sense of kinship. It's about commonality. It's where you feel more at home, where you think, yeah, this is the place that I think shares everything from most of our values and ideas and all that follows from them. And as Donald Trump said in his speech, you know, we are the country, the foundations of law, liberty and free speech. I think it's said best in that statement. 0344 499 1000.